Everybody, my name is Cam White, and welcome to. Oh, yep, it is recording. Okay, had a little glitch there. Anyway, how's it going, guys? Welcome to your October 2020 horoscope. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm actually doing this live right now on my Twitch. We're going to be going over every single big transit that's going on October, and at the end of this video, I'm going to be taking charts from the live audience, and I'm going to be doing basically horoscopes from charts from people that are watching this, and kind of make some predictions for the signs at the end of this video. So make sure you guys stick all the way to the end as well. If you are watching this recorded, make sure to subscribe to my Twitch channel so you can get the notification when I go live. And yeah, you can stay here and watch this live. Anyway, I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to kind of get here. It does take a second for all the comments and whatnot to come in. But anyway, I said I was going to do this at like 3 o'clock, and then I looked at the rising, and at like 3 o'clock, here, let me show you. I think it was like exactly when Saturn was like on the ascendant. So I was like, maybe, yeah, this was 3 o'clock. So I was like, maybe this isn't a good time to, technically this was, today. This is today, yeah. Saturn retrograde right on top of the ascendant. I was like, yeah, maybe that wasn't a good time to do it. So I waited till 3:30 when it was Aquarius rising. So anyway, what's up, guys? I'm super glad you guys can be here today. We have a lot to talk about for this month. Oh, are the comments coming in right here? Oh, the comments are coming in right there. I don't even know how to change that. Oh, wait. Do I just turn that off? Oh, that's new. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. We have a lot to talk about with October. October is that month that we all kind of talked about in my year ahead horoscopes, and everyone's been kind of like, this month's gonna be crazy. So let's kind of jump into it. As you see, there's a little bit more going on in this month than usual, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about with this month is I'm going to try to get through this month as fast as I can and not 2.5 hours, but there's a lot going on, so bear with me. First thing to talk about, the full moon in Aries. I already talked about that with my monthly horoscope, or with my weekly horoscope last week. And honestly, with the full moon in Aries, whoops, I'm keep pushing all the wrong buttons today. Mercury's in shadow, leave me alone. So start off on October 1st. We have the full moon in Aries happening. I already talked about this in my last week's horoscope, so if you haven't checked that out, make sure you do. The one thing I just wanted to start off with, that I really just wanted to hit on, with this being like the beginning of October, is like this month starts off with a bang. We're making decisions, we're taking actions, we're being decisive. There is the sun's in Libra falling, things are changing. We're starting into a whole new season. At least here in the northern hemisphere, the days are getting shorter. And I feel like with this full moon in Aries, this is like that one last hurrah, this one last spark to try to get things moving, get things done. However, this is a little bit different because it's ruled by this Mars retrograde, which is also squaring Saturn at this point. So on the first, the one thing I just wanted to mention is, while we're getting ready to initiate, start, begin what we're kind of heading straight into, just make sure it's not, I don't want to say a permanent decision, but this is a full moon in Aries ruled by Mars retrograde square Saturn. What do you need to redo? What do you need to reshape? How do you need to maybe replan things? Mars going up to Saturn that first time, we learned that we didn't do things perfect the first time. This is kind of like this is that time to kind of reorganize yourself and go, okay, what didn't work? How can you reshape things, replan things in order to get them to move ahead again? As we move forward, second thing to talk about with this month is Venus in Virgo, which I talked about that in last week's horoscope. I don't know if I talked about Pluto stationing direct or not. I don't remember. I probably did talk about Pluto stationing direct. But anyway, on October 2nd, that's when Venus is going to enter Virgo. The one thing, I talked a lot about this in that last week's horoscope. I'm really excited about this, with Venus being, of course, the planet of love, romance, connection. Venus is pleasure. Venus is indulgence. Venus is also hi. There's so many people in my live stream this time. I'm super glad you guys could all be here. I tried to do it a little bit earlier for you guys to all catch here. So anyway, I'm super excited you guys can be here. But anyway, Venus goes into Virgo, where, yeah, on October 2nd, Venus does enter her sign of fall. So she's not, comfortable here. It's the same. Like, what's weird about this time, too, is during October, we're going to have Venus in its fall and Jupiter in its fall. So both of the benefics aren't going to be really all that well placed. They are going to be a little bit uncomfortable. However, they will be trining each other. So they're at least, together is a good way to look at it. That they're at least on the same page. And with Venus being more about connection and more about bringing things together, indulgence, Venus is about beauty, Venus is about having fun. With Venus being in Virgo, there might be this, like, there's not a whole lot of room for fun or relaxation. This might be like, you might feel a little bit more stressed and pressured to get things exactly right, or to want things to have a specific taste or a specific feeling. And you might feel really dissatisfied when you don't get that feeling. And Venus in Virgo is really a time to explore specific, like, niches. It's like, if you try a new recipe, right, and you make that recipe really good, Venus in Virgo is when you, like, kind of perfect it by putting your own touch into it. And sometimes there's mistakes with that. Like, sometimes you're not always going to get it right when you're trying something new and innovative. Especially with Venus in Virgo, one thing I really like about Venus Virgo is it's not about the Taurus or Libra where there's this standard. Virgo is really like, what can you fashion up? What can you what can you create or what can you make that is beautiful that normally isn't looked at that way? One thing I like about Venus and Virgo is it's very reminds me of like thrifting and stuff like that, making like the old or making what can seem like the unused usable again, stitching things together. That's another thing I like about Venus and Virgo is being like literally like the thread and the needle, stitching things together, bringing pieces of fabric together, or something that can be ripped. It just takes a little bit of strand to bring it together. So anyway, Venus goes into Virgo. Both the benefics are in their sign of fall, which just means, which I've been hitting on this a lot this past year. It's not bad that both of them are in their fall. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but this just challenges us to really go, okay, Venus is on her way to Libra, right? We'll be fine. Of course, the Venus and Libra transit's way different than a usual Venus and Libra transit this round. But in the meantime, with Venus in Virgo, what can we like and what can we value that's practical, that's easy, that's pragmatic? That's the same idea with Jupiter and Capricorn. It's not about Jupiter being about, let's see everything through this big idealistic way. Jupiter and Capricorn's like, hey, grounding yourself in some reality, having realistic goals, having realistic vision can actually bring more rewards to you than, shooting out to the stars. And Venus and Virgo is like, some of the more smaller stuff can be a lot better, or even the, what's Venus and Virgo? The more pragmatic, the more simple, the more specific things that can make us more comfortable are a lot more enjoyable than what's expensive or what is really heavy and grounded already. So Venus and Virgo will be interesting. Pluto stations direct on the 5th. I think I did talk about that in my last weekly horoscope. Pluto stationing direct. That's cool because now everything here is moving forward. Let's move this to the 5th. Now everything here is moving forward. That's exciting. We're on our way to being done. Like, that's the nice part about Pluto stationing direct is we're finally moving forward to being done with all of this bullshit. We're finally, things are starting to wrap up here. So that's really good news. However, I think, I don't want to say the bad news. What can be really difficult is with Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto moving forward is like, we're moving forward if you're ready or not. Like, it's time. The Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter stuff, right? I've been making this analogy since 2019 when we had the South Node and Saturn and Pluto all conjoining. This was like a building on fire, and the infrastructure is weak and brittle and ashy. And then when Jupiter came into the mix in Capricorn, we're putting all of this weight and this pressure on it for it to act right? It's like, we're relying on old systems in a moment where we should have updated shit years ago. And so with everything moving forward, this is kind of like, if you guys ever had to do your own car work, I mean, you guys are on YouTube, so I'm assuming that you guys Google YouTube stuff like I do. I YouTube I will sometimes YouTube a lot of my own car work. When you go to AutoZone, you know it, like it's just sometimes you have to keep going back to AutoZone and changing this or changing that and having this problem, having that problem. You know, it can get frustrating and it can get really scary. And I think with Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter stationing direct moving forward, this is kind of like that last trip to AutoZone. You finally think you got the part that you need that is going to make everything work, and you just basically cross your fingers that car is going to start up and that check engine light's not going to come back on. So it can feel really intimidating, right? It's also kind of like, it's kind of traumatizing, especially working with a car. It's like, man, you get a part, you fix it, you think you got it, and it's still wrong, something's still messed up, and it's like, when you turn on that car, you don't know if something's going to go right again or if it's going to work, and you still don't trust it. So with Pluto moving forward, there's a lot of fear in what can happen and what possibly could happen. So don't get too wound up in it. I feel like, with 2020, you can't be scared at the end of a scary movie, right? Like there's been already so many jump scares that at this point you're kind of expecting it. Anyway, Pluto's not even that important. Let's talk about Mercury opposite Uranus. So yeah, Mercury goes opposite Uranus on the 7th. And, whoops, wrong button. And Mercury's in shadow at this point. Mercury's going to go retrograde. If you're not already aware or familiar with how this Mercury retrograde is going to go, well, sit back and relax because we're going to talk about it. So with Mercury opposite Uranus, this is what kind of gets really interesting. Mercury is the planet that acts between two worlds, right? That goes between this way, goes between that way. It's it plays on both sides, right? In Scorpio, where Scorpio is all about digging things up, right? It's all about what's underneath the surface, what's hidden underground, and uprooting stuff, right? This Mercury opposite Uranus seems so much more of like an uprooting, but of something that you didn't expect. So some of you might know, if you've ever dug a hole before, they always say like it's like call 411 or call 511. I can't remember the number, which is kind of ironic. But if you want to dig on your property or anything like that, you should call a number to see if there's any lines underneath you, to see if there's any gas lines, water lines, whatever it is. And I feel like this Mercury opposite Uranus is kind of like you're reaching down underground to pick something up, putting your hands in the mud to bring it out into the world. And, you accidentally grab onto, a water pipe and it breaks, or, you're taking your shovel trying to scoop out dirt and you hit a line. Mercury opposite Uranus is definitely going to be some type of shocking information. Mercury, again, this is Mercury and Scorpio opposite Uranus and Taurus. Like, I feel like this is really easy to see. Some type of information that is hidden or dark or secret comes out and destabilizes something that is usually grounded, that is usually trustworthy in that matter. So we're already kind of seeing that. Like, it's not even October yet, and you can see all of the news shit. Like, it's like one thing after another popping up. Expect more of that. But on a personal level, with Mercury opposite Uranus, expect something that was hidden, that you couldn't identify, that was underneath the surface, being brought out and alive and causing some type of destabilizing thing to happen. It's going to be kind of immediate and in your face. And as we move forward, we are going to be having Mars square Pluto, and we're going to come back to the Mercury stuff because Mercury is, again, at this point in the game, Mercury is opposite Uranus, but it's about ready to station retrograde. So we'll be getting to how that's going to come down. But the next thing that happens is going to be on October 9th. That's going to be on a Friday. Mars is going to square Pluto. So Mars square Pluto. I'm not looking forward to this because this is also when Mars is opposite my moon. But Mars squared Pluto originally, I want to say that was going to be about August sometime. Let's actually go back now that we're here in October. Let's go when did Mars square Pluto? Here we go. So this would have been August. Here we are. So August 13th. What happened? What was going on for you guys during August 13th? Now, mind you, August, I feel like was a completely different lifetime and a completely different universe than we're in right now. However, there's something that was happening during August where maybe there was some type of, you're feeling a lot of pressure to go, to do something, a lot of pressure to get something done that might have been really relentless and really scary. As we fly forward to October 9th, this is where, where are we at? There we go. As we get back to October 9th, this is where the pressure might be a little bit done. Notice how in August, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn were all retrograde. Now Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn are all direct while Mars is retrograde. So I think this really changes the game to there's a lot of like Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn moving forward, right? We know what the plan is. We know what we want to do. But Mars retrograding might be like there might be something that's stopping us from getting it done. Like, sure, we might want to. Sure, we might be clear on a vision or a plan. But, you know, we're out of gas. We're out of time. There's just too much, going on. Mars retrograde just might be tired. Like, I don't like that. I have never been this exhausted in my life, and I haven't even been. I feel like I do less and less and less, and I get more and more exhausted. So I don't know if I'm alone in the feeling of that everyone is tired. But also, hold on, I'm going through all these comments. Thanks for telling me where you guys are at. Serbia, hey, what up? Anyway, so October 9th, Mars squares Pluto. My advice would definitely just be like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Double check shit. Don't push yourself too hard. Try to rework your how to, not necessarily the plan, but how it's going to happen. Whoops. So now as we go to the 10th, this is when Venus trines Uranus. This isn't, this isn't going to be, of course, the, too many charts going on there. This isn't the biggest deal in the world, Venus trine Uranus, like, what the fuck ever, to be honest. But Venus in Virgo trining Uranus sounds like there's going to be, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some type of cleaning product or some type of beauty product that was really brought into light, or like some type of new mask or something for people to wear. Venus in Virgo trining Uranus, there's gonna be some type of innovation around beauty and around Virgo stuff. So like being clean of germs, not having, covering up something specific. This sounds kind of more funny in the mundane world, but on a personal level, Venus trine Uranus, there's just some type of innovation, seeing something differently. And this is Venus, right? What do we value? What do we find beautiful? What do we want to connect to? Venus in Virgo is when you hyperanalyze a piece of art that's like abstract, that you're not really supposed to like hyperanalyze and look at the detail. You're supposed to take a step back and kind of taking it as a whole. Venus in Virgo is kind of wanting to look at the specifics and look at the details. And through that lens, Venus can kind of appreciate more stuff. Venus trining Uranus, there's some type of, discovery or innovation or some type of just, cool connection to make that makes things. It's kind of like, I can't think of a good analogy. I can't think of an appropriate analogy, I should say. But anyway, you guys get what I'm fucking trying to talk about. I think you guys get what I mean there. Next thing, Jupiter sextiles Neptune as it squares the sun as we go into the next day on the 11th. So this is that weekend of the 9th, 10th, 11th. Kind of a lot going on here. As we get to Jupiter sextiling Neptune right here and the sun squaring Jupiter at this point, it'll mostly be earlier in the day, but I think this is really weird. I think this is kind of like, the whole Jupiter-Neptune thing I feel like has been weird. We had Jupiter squaring Neptune last year when Jupiter was in Sagittarius. And now Jupiter's in Capricorn making the sextile to Neptune, where it's like, hey, I can, the big MO with Jupiter and Capricorn is that, like, Jupiter and Sag wants you to dream big and see everything in this big grandiose way and all this crazy stuff, that's fine. But Jupiter and Capricorn is really like, hey, being realistic, being pragmatic, having a plan to achieve your goals will actually get you, and having achievable goals, not going out of your way and dreaming something big, like doing something that's going to be real and solidify things. Like with Jupiter sextiling Neptune, this creates it almost makes it easier to manifest stuff into your life that you want. When you are pragmatic, when you are solution oriented, when you're not just like, I guess just looking at things through a Jupiter and Sag way that's very idealistic, very optimistic. Jupiter and Capricorn is like, okay, how can we get things done? How can I change how I see things? And with it sextiling Neptune, I think that gets you closer and closer to actually getting what you're envisioning with Neptune. Neptune's kind of about spirituality, our dreams. Neptune's about, us kind of putting rose-colored glasses to everything. And Neptune can, have a lot to deal with our vision, how we want things to be, how we idealize stuff. And I feel like Jupiter and Capricorn sextiling Neptune is very much like, hey, when you're realistic and pragmatic, sometimes things can be even more idealistic than they appear originally. And so I think while Jupiter sextiles Neptune, that's great and dandy, but as the sun squares Jupiter, there's this, while the sun's in the superior position, is kind of like, hey, are you, not necessarily are you going too big, but is the sun in Libra is kind of like, hey, do I have the resources for that? Do I have the energy for that? Do you have the time for that? As it squares Jupiter is now in Capricorn. It's direct. It's about to conjoin Pluto again. It's about to conjoin Saturn. Then it's going to go into Aquarius, then conjoin Saturn. And then there's a Venus-Jupiter conjunction. There's this next year, the Sun-Jupiter Cazimi is on the full moon in Leo. Like, Jupiter's got a whole story ahead of itself here. And I feel like with the sun squaring Jupiter, this is kind of the time of like, is this something that I feel comfortable with? Is this something that I have the resources to do? Do I have a plan ready, essentially? I think on Sunday on the 11th, there's this kind of breakdown of going like, hey, this is what I have, this is what I can do, and putting, my resources and my plans together, I think I can create this. And yeah, Jupiter's now that Jupiter's stationary direct, Jupiter has so much shit to look forward to. Jupiter has a lot going on. So, anyway, hold on, I need some water too. $22 minutes, 23 minutes. Okay, that's not horrible, but we still kind of have a lot to talk about. Then we get to the 13th, and that's going to be on a Tuesday. So on Mars's day, we have the Sun-Mars opposition. Now, I've been looking at this for a really long fucking time, and it's pretty cool because, I mean, if you notice, they're kind of both at like early 21, and Pluto's right here in the middle of this opposition. Now, during the Sun-Mars opposition, this is the climax. This is when you get into the Mars retrograde, the Mars synod, the Mars's relationship to the Sun. You get into the hero's journey, right? The Sun-Mars conjunction, which that originally happened in September of last year, September 9th. That was the Sun-Mercury-Mars conjunction that we had in Virgo. As Mars moved forward, you have the Mars square. This is in the hero's journey, where our hero initially gets, given a challenge, given some type of opportunity, some type of conflict. In the Mars-Sun opposition, this is kind of like the climax. This is kind of like the heat of the moment, like the middle of the battle. And with the Sun being in Libra in its fall and Mars being in its domicile here, Mars actually having some dignity, it's just retrograde. I think there's this really big look at, hey, where do we need to pause? Where do we need to maybe, I don't want to say not vote, not in the political sense, but there's this game that some of you might have played before. Some of you probably haven't. Actually, most of you haven't. But it's called. There's another name for it, but I'm familiar with it being called like the red-black game, and that's where you can either vote red. Like you have basically a group of people split into two teams. One team, and it's basically who can add the most points. You can either vote red or you can vote black. The idea is if both teams vote black, both teams get plus 5 points. If one team votes red, another team votes black, the team that vote red gets 5 points, and the team that voted black loses 5 points. But if they both vote red, they lose points. So what's interesting in this game is how quick people can go, oh, let's go win-win and vote black, right? That doesn't happen. Who creates a win-win situation? A lot of times people just vote red on each side because they're betting if the other person votes black that they'll get more points. So the idea of this game is to kind of show you like, hey, when you're working in a team fashion like that, like why does it have to be winners and losers, and why not winners and winners? But something that you learn in this game is the fact that your team can't vote on a color until everyone in that group voted. So there can be times where you were sitting, and if you were a part of this group and everyone's like, hey, what color are we voting on? And everyone says red or black, you can choose not to vote. Like your vote can be a choose not to vote. And I say that's why I'm kind of saying this phrase specifically with the Sun-Mars opposition, because this kind of looks like a moment where we go, hey, where do we need a pause? Where do we just need to stop for a minute? If you are a musician or a producer, especially if you're doing any type of audio engineering, when you sometimes will tinker around a little bit too much with the knobs, and you get away from the sound that you originally had in mind, and you kind of just have to stop and go, wait a minute, hold on, let me go back a little bit. Something I really talked about in the beginning of this year is the fact with Jupiter and Capricorn is less is more in this example. With Mars retrograding opposite the Sun in Libra, where do we need to kind of balance things out a little bit? Where instead of cranking everything, over to the side, where do we go? Okay, now that I've tinkered with the sound a little bit, let's go back to where we were originally. Before we lean super, super far one way, let's go back a little bit another way. This really just looks like a calm pause. And I say calm because, yes, the Sun is going to be squaring Pluto, and Mars is going to be squaring Pluto this whole time, and Pluto's in the middle of it. But that's also kind of like where, it's one of those situations where if you don't move a muscle, because if you move, it's kind of like not dinosaurs, Jurassic Park. In the movie Jurassic Park, where they say don't move, otherwise they're going to kill you. This is one of those things of just don't move for a second. Pause. This is pause. This is timeout. This is everyone saying, hold on. And with the Sun-Mars opposition, this is also what I would say too is a balance transfer. So we've literally got the Sun in Libra, and of course the sign of balancing stuff. It's squaring Pluto with Mars. This is kind of like when things kind of start to teeter another way. We finally get to this equilibrium moment of Mars-Sun opposition. Things are just equal, and then things start teetering another direction. In a personal sense, in a personal development sense more specifically, I think one thing to kind of look at this Mars opposition is to say, hey, when is it time to take a step back and go, you know what? I'm going to change this. You know what? I'm going to do this a little bit different. I think no matter what with the Mars opposition, this is a time that you are going to be clear with your decisions. You are going to be decisive. I want you to actually specifically think back to the last Mars retrograde in 2018, because the Sun-Mars opposition was on an eclipse. So think about what was that day like. And sure, that was an eclipse that had, of course, more extra energy on it. However, going back to that eclipse might help you a little bit. So let's go back to it real quick. That would have been summer of 2018. Click. This would have been, Yeah. Do you guys remember? Holy shit. Do you guys remember this eclipse? Holy fucking goddamn. Oh god, I'm getting triggered just looking at this thing. um yeah, this was a super intense eclipse. This was a lot. Um July of 27 of 2018. And the reason I'm bringing this up is this was the Sun Mars opposition. You know, what decisions were made? What realizations were had? And also, what did you realize about the decisions that you made earlier, right? What were you, I mean, this was also the Sun in Leo opposite Mars in the South Node. Where were you gaining attention and also running away from? But that's on a whole nother level. I just wanted you guys to remember what this time was like, because maybe that Sun-Mars opposition will help you kind of understand what this Sun-Mars opposition will help you with. So anyway, I didn't mean to trigger everybody in their past experiences with that shit. That was a hard Mars retrograde. That was a very hard Mars retrograde. Mars retrogrades aren't supposed to be easy, though. So then we get to, what day are we on? We're on the 14th. How are we doing, guys? 30 minutes? Hey, 30 minutes? We're making excellent time. So on October 14th, it happens. The Mercury retrograde begins. And so interesting point during this is literally the day after the Mars retrograde, or the Sun Mars opposition, right? We move over to the next day. Sun squares Pluto. Sun squares Pluto is like when you do something really small and you go, whoops, that's going to be really bad later on. Like, it's like something that has a domino effect or something that has a snowball effect. It's like one little thing you did. It's like when you leave the lint trap, the lint trap not cleaned out in your dryer. And then you come home and your house is in flames and you're like, whoops, I should have probably done that little tiny thing I should have done. With the Sun-Mars opposition going straight into the Mercury retrograde, as you guys see. The Mercury retrograde that's where things are going to come alive. That's when we're going to go. Now that with the Mercury-Uranus opposition, right, things were revealed, things became destabilized. Again, and these are fixed signs too. This is Scorpio and Taurus. Scorpio and Taurus, out of all the fixed signs, are going to be the most like structured, like stable, and they're the most unstable right now. So that's another thing I wanted to kind of hit on. But with Mercury then stationing, this is kind of like going, oh, now that we broke this pipe, now that we have uplifted this thing that maybe shouldn't have been uplifted, now what do we do? For example, let's say, if you're a Taurus rising, and Mercury retrogrades in Scorpio, this might be a conversation that you have with someone, and this relationship that you have sparks something and makes you realize something about yourself you never realized before. And that Mercury retrograde happens, and then that relationship may not, that person goes, oh, well, I was just joking, or, oh, don't take that too seriously, even though it had a profound effect on you. The Mercury retrograde is going to be kind of like, okay, now that these things are revealed, it's kind of like when you open up something and you're like, I didn't want to see this, so you close it as quickly as possible. Like, you open up someone's closet and there's a bunch of dead people in there. You just close it as quick as possible. Like, nope, I didn't see that. We're walking back. We're leaving after this. Mercury in Scorpio, gets to open up the chest, is kind of shocked by what it sees and it wants to just throw everything away. But Sun is also squaring Pluto at this time. This is, for one, a lot of power structures being put into play here. The Sun squaring Pluto is kind of like, things don't like there's a lot of realizations. There's a lot of, this isn't cool. Like, this is a little scary here. And again, just a FYI, just to take a quick step back here. This is definitely going to be one of the more difficult months of this year. The Mars-Saturn conjunction was definitely rough with COVID locking down, but this is kind of a turning point. This is a tipping point in the year. So, you kind of just have to go into this stuff knowing what you're like, expecting something like this, right? This definitely isn't a month where you're going to manifest your dreams and everything. Like, don't get me wrong. A lot of you are probably going to have great times during this month, but this month has a dramatic change. So you're probably going to, most humans I know don't handle change too well. So it might shock you in a lot of areas, but there's some exciting stuff that comes with it. I mean, we all need change. Look at the fucking world we live in. We're all ready for some type of change in our lives. Mercury stations retrograde. So then on the 16th, that's when we get to the new moon in Libra, which just so happens to be squaring Saturn and Pluto. This new moon, how do we feel about this new moon? In my opinion, this new moon is on Spica or Spica. Heaven fucking forbid. Everyone says Spica, and I don't know why. I say Spica. That's whoever put that meme out last month on Twitter of like, what conversation will spark up this astro fight? And there's the big pub brawl. Mine is I say Spica and not Spica. Anyway, this new moon. So this new moon looks both good and not good. It's kind of like, when something, well, I'm trying not to use, I'm trying not to go into the political situation in the United States with this analogy because it's just so in black and white, like right there. But one thing I would say with this new moon in Libra is there's more of an intention. There's more of there's literally a lunation, a focus of light on the balance of power, the balance of authority, the way that we balance ourselves with discipline and structure versus, having a little bit of relaxedness. The one thing here is Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter and Capricorn are like, this is how things have to be. Saturn and Capricorn, it's got to be this way. This is the only way we can kind of do it. This new moon in Libra is in the superior position here where it's like, hey, being super disciplined on yourself, being really hard on yourself, putting all of this pressure, doing all this work, it's good, but it's also, doesn't have to be like that all the time. Discipline and being Saturn is good sometimes, but it's not always good all the time. I think, Mars isn't necessarily exactly opposite, but now that Mars is coming up to Jupiter here and Mars is just still in the mix, squaring everything here, there is this kind of like realization of, what exactly needs to change and how can we have more balance and more peace and not go to extreme sides this way and this way. This is a unifying new moon. Although it is squaring Saturn, this is kind of like unifying, but in an uncomfortable way. And I think Saturn is going to throw a fit. But on a personal level, I really think this is a great new moon to, where do you need to be more Saturn? Where do you need to be more Mars? Or where do you need to be more Venus? With Saturn, it's easy to be really difficult on yourself, beat yourself up, create a lot of limits for yourself, bound yourself in walls and whatnot. And there's a time and place to be disciplined and be an authority and be really self-structured. And then there's another time where you do need to be easy on yourself and maybe you do need to take breaks and maybe you do need to, life is all about cycles and life is all about balance. And I feel like on October 16th, this new moon, there's this weird realization of that, of like, it's not about all this or all that. Like it's about using what works for you when you need to use it. If it doesn't work, stop using it. Anyway, after that, this is when the month gets fun. And we have the Venus-Neptune opposition right there. Personally, I'm really looking forward to the Venus-Neptune opposition. This looks kinky and fun. Venus opposite Neptune. Like, it really doesn't get more fun than that. But also at the same time, that Venus is opposite Neptune, we're also going to be having Mars squaring Jupiter and the Sun square Saturn. So there's fun, but there's rules to the fun. And there are certain ways that you can have fun. So what do we want to tackle first? We'll end with the Venus opposite Neptune. Let's actually tackle the Sun square Saturn. So actually what I'll do, let me put this back a couple minutes. There we go. This is when we really have the Sun square Saturn. So earlier that day, as the Sun does square Saturn exactly, this is, establishing balance of like, hey, putting balance and kind of checking authorities. There's the sense of kind of going, all right, where do I need to have more discipline? Where do I need to take on more responsibility? Where do I need to relax that a little bit more? More emphasis on that new moon in Libra. Same shit, basically. But with Mars squaring Jupiter, this is a little rough. This is like kind of trying to ride a bike with like not flat tires, but the tires sure do not have a lot of pressure. Mars retrograde squaring Jupiter is also like, if your plans don't hold up, it's really easy for things to go bad really fast. It's kind of like popping a balloon, where Jupiter and Capricorn is like, or another way to look at it would be like let's say, I can't think of the right analogy for this. Like Jupiter and Capricorn would be like someone being like, hey, I'm not usually that positive, and I don't usually come up with that many ideas, but hey, I've got this idea and I've got this thing that I think would be cool. And then Mars is just like, fuck you. Like Mars just shoots down whatever Jupiter has to offer. Like Jupiter and Capricorn has been working this whole year to come up with one idea. They come up with one plan, and Mars is like, no. Mars is definitely not having fun with Jupiter here, but also with Mars squaring Jupiter there's this, I guess, don't expect things to go well the first time with Jupiter in Capricorn here. A lot of it's estimation. A lot of it's just rationalizing stuff. Getting specific with things is going to be a little bit hard. But with Mars squaring Jupiter, just know where to not push the limit. Things can kind of blow up really fast. And things can go bad really quick. For example, when we had Mars square Jupiter last time, do you guys remember what happened during the Mars square Jupiter? Do you? Because this one was a really big fucking deal. It was the day that, I can't remember what country it was, but that big explosion happened in that country where everyone was just like, oh shit, there's a fire. And then bam, like that shit blew the fuck up. Mars retrograde in Aries squaring Jupiter, like shit can go bad really quick if you don't have a plan, if you don't know what's exact. Like imagine you are that shipping dock. If you don't know that there's, extremely flammable explosives sitting in your dock and there's a fire going on, yeah, shit's gonna fucking blow the fuck up. So one thing to like check is like, shit can go bad really quick. So make sure that like you're not just like Jupiter and Capricorn too. It's so easy to just be like, oh, fuck it, I'll figure it out. Like it's so easy to wing it. It's so easy to get by with what you have. Try to stress yourself a little bit more. Try to just put a little bit more pressure of like, hey, make sure that this is good enough. Make sure that, you have a plan, you have a system, you have a way out of this. Or a good way to look at it too would be like, don't take on that much. Don't take on more than you can handle. What do you need to not handle? What do you need to be a little bit, easier with? Now, also, Venus is going to be opposite Neptune. Personally, I think this is really cool if you guys do psychedelics. Great day for that. Great day to like just get in tune with shit. Like Venus in Virgo, right? Like, what do we want? Like specifying it. What do we want that's tangible, that's physical? As its opposite Neptune, there's this breakthrough of, you know, not feeling confused, or I don't want to say not feeling confused. There's this, you know, Neptune in Pisces is like, anything is possible. You can have this, you can have that. And Venus in Virgo is like, yeah, but I really want this specific thing. I really want things to be this exact way. And the one thing I want to mention with this is that, like, you can't get everything that you want, but you can get close. And Venus in Virgo opposite Neptune is definitely one of those days to kind of look at, you know, maybe is what you want maybe so niche or realistic, or maybe you're being too specific. And that's not to say to lower your standards. I don't really believe in lowering standards, but I think changing definitions or using different vocabulary can really help your mind become more clear on what is, on like what it is that you do want and what it is that is tangible. Because if you also notice, look at this. The very next day, Venus is going to trine Jupiter, right? So Venus opposite Jupiter, as Venus starts to trine Jupiter, as Mars is squaring it, is this kind of like, you know, there's this not wanting to overdo it, not wanting to go a little bit, not wanting to overdo things, not wanting to blow it out of proportion, but wanting to make sure you have the right, you know, notes. It's kind of like, you know, to go back to the music analogy, if you're like a sound engineer at like a venue or something, if you're a cool one, or I shouldn't say not the venue engineer will keep it down, but, you know, you try to get it to the loudest volume possible without it sounding too distorted, without it sounding too crazy, without it peaking and clipping and shit like that. Venus opposite Neptune is like trying to find that sweet spot, and kind of hitting something, you know, not knowing how it's happening. You're like, I don't know how I hit the sweet spot, but it works, and this is how we're doing it. Like when I produce music and I fuck with like midis and stuff like that, every now and then I'll do something and like some crazy sound happens. I'm like, I don't even know how the fuck this is happening, but I'm not gonna touch it anymore because I don't want to risk not having this cool sound. So as Venus is opposite Venus is opposite Neptune, I think there's this connection of kind of like going like, hey, this is really cool. This is kind of piquing my interest. Let's just keep things here where it's at. Really fun though, also. And then yeah, the next day, literally the next day, where are we at? Venus trines Jupiter. So get this, the next day, Venus trines Jupiter. Mercury is opposite Uranus on the 19th. So that's a Sunday going into a Monday. Venus trines Jupiter here this next day. Actually, it'll be earlier that day. And then Mercury is opposite Uranus. So, again, like I said before, October's got a lot going on. And I mean, we're only on to the 19th, and shit's going this way, shit's going that way, shit's going this way again. And one thing with Venus trine Jupiter is I think that there's this materialization of like, yes, like when you are pragmatic, when you are simple, when you keep things easy for yourself, when you are solution oriented, Jupiter and Capricorn, right? When you've got a plan for shit, trining Venus and Virgo, like it's the same idea. Like the people, some of you will probably understand, like it's always the people, like, you know how people like pack a lot of stuff. Like, I'm sometimes guilty of like, everyone does, here's a better analogy. Everyone does this. Everyone packs extra underwear to a trip because they think that like, what if I shit my pants every single day of that trip? I need to make sure I have extra underwear. Like Venus and Virgo trining Jupiter and Capricorn is, even though that's like, you know, you're planning ahead, sure. But it's, even though like most people don't really shit their pants on vacation, Venus trine Jupiter and Virgo is like, oh, you may not shit your pants, but something happens where you go, I brought this thing, and this is why I bring this things, because this exact little fucking thing happens, and I'm so fucking glad I brought it. It's like doing something that, you know, like, honestly, we probably all shouldn't fucking be packing more underwear than we need to. Like, it's, why do we live in fear like that, right? There's no need for that. But this is just one of those moments where it's like, man, just fucking something just comes in handy. Something comes in clutch on the 19th. The problem with it, though, is it's Mercury retrograde opposite Uranus. So maybe it's like, let's say you own your home and you dig underneath and you hit a pipeline and that pipeline breaks and you call the city and the city's like, oh yeah, okay, we'll be there to fix it. And then instead of you having to front the bill, they're like, hey, we were going to come in and clean this shit anyway, so we're going to give you new pipe and we're going to do this, and maybe you get something new out of it. There's some type of, oh, well, I didn't expect that, and things actually going pretty good at this point. It's Venus trine Jupiter. We will have Venus sextile Jupiter eventually, but basically until Venus goes into Aquarius and conjoins Jupiter, this is the best benefic transit we've got for a while. We had Venus in Taurus trining Jupiter and Capricorn, and that was in, I don't know, I think Pisces season, Aries season, so I don't even know what the fuck was going on then. But now with Venus in Virgo trining Jupiter, awesome. Mercury opposite Uranus. That scene in the movies where, some kid like opens the door and like skeletons fall and they're like, oh no, I wasn't supposed to see that. And then they put it all away and then they close the door and then like the door keeps trying to open. That's also like Mercury opposite Uranus while it's retrograde. It's like, oh, things can just like, even if you're trying to put them away, you can't really force shit to, stay away. Sometimes it just pops out, sometimes you can't get rid of it. Or like, there's this stupid movie my sister makes me watch all the time. It's A Rough Night with, oh God, I can't remember any of their names right now. Rough Night, if you know that stupid movie. It's about these girls on some stupid wedding thing and they fucking kill a guy. And in that movie, they try to get rid of this dude's body, and they chuck this dude out into the ocean, and then he just like comes right back. That's kind of like this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. Like if you're trying to get rid of a body and you dump it in the ocean, maybe tie a rock to it, because otherwise, like it's just gonna get brought back. Scarlett Johansson. Yes, with Scarlett Johansson and I can't think of any of their names. They're all so funny. The one chick from Broad City. I don't watch TV anymore, but anyway, if you're gonna get rid of a dead body, don't just throw it out to sea. It's just gonna come right back. Like put a fucking rock on it or something. That's how I look at this Mercury retrograde opposite Uranus. If you're not planning ahead, it's gonna get real ugly real quick. Anyway, oh gosh, wrong button. So, Jesus. Then we get to, October 21st, Venus trines Pluto. So look at this. This is both cool and also like not the best cool. It's kind of like okay, some of you might get mad at me. I thought it was the funniest and the lamest thing ever that like in order to celebrate the frontline workers, like the president literally had like planes fly over the city. Like, okay, I guess that's cool, but all these people could sure use anything else but a fucking plane flyover. So I feel like Venus, like in Virgo, starting to make all these trines. It's kind of like, okay, that was really cool, but that I don't know how much that really helped me. And the other part of it is with Venus trining Pluto, because we just had Venus trine Jupiter, Venus trine Pluto. Venus trine Pluto can be like, there's this specific niche, the thing that came in clutch. It's like, for example, like let's say you packed extra underwear on all of your trips, and you never used it until that one time. It's going to be that one time where you do end up having to use it, where you go, I'll never not bring extra underwear with me again. And I was right. And this is exactly, Venus trining Pluto is you're going to feel really good about the decisions you made or about how you want something. And you go, yeah, like I'm never like, yes, I'm correct. This is, there's an empowering feeling when you get things exactly right, the right way that you want it. Same thing, to go back to the music analogy. Like when you get that fucking tone you want, when you get that sound, it's just like, you could feel your whole self level up. And that's kind of like Venus trining Pluto. If you're really looking for that, like, all right, like I need something that's going to really level me up. There's that. But it's also Venus trining Pluto that can be like, okay, that was kind of cool. That was kind of extreme, but I don't know how needed it was for that. Then we get to the 22nd and the sun enters Scorpio. So let's actually make it official. We'll go by a couple minutes. Oh, come on. Okay. We'll do... Come on, sun. There we go. Holy fuck. Now the sun's in Scorpio. At literally 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, happy birthday, Scorpios. The sun is in Scorpio now, and also, not to mention, the moon's right on Pluto during this time. You know the analogy I like to make a lot with Scorpios and Scorpio season, right? The sun in Libra is like, you know, everything's dissipating, everything is changing colors, everything's really pretty. Sun in Libra, right? Then the sun goes into Scorpio, and if you're lucky enough to live in a part of the Earth where you get all 4 seasons, Scorpio season in the northern hemisphere here, everything just starts to die, and plants literally get rid of all of their leaves, and then they bring all of their energy inside and basically hold on to what energy that they have throughout the winter, and they store it in their roots. So as the sun enters Scorpio, there's this retraction that happens, this reclusiveness that happens. There's this, it's kind of like, you know, if you're out gambling and you check your watch and you're like, oh shit, it's 4 a.m. I'm going to grab my money and get out of here before it's, you know, too late, before I just stay up until, you know, the sunrise. So as the sun goes into Scorpio, not that big of a deal, but you are going to really notice a big shift in, you know, I guess your priorities, your vibe. There's going to be, you know, now that it's getting colder, we're going to just be more at home. Or if you're in the southern hemisphere, and things are getting hotter during Scorpio season, I feel like that's so, and things are like starting to become alive. That's so weird. I feel uncomfortable. I don't even know what to say about that. I'm sorry I even brought that up. I just don't think the southern hemisphere exists. Anyway, we move to October 24th. Venus trines Saturn. So this is good. We like this. We definitely like Venus trining Saturn. It's actually going to be earlier in the day. Let's see how much earlier it is. All right, let's change it a couple hours. Oh, so it's like pretty early in the morning. About 9 o'clock in the morning. As Venus trines Saturn, so a good way to look at it is, let's say you want, it's Venus and Virgo. What you're wanting that's specific, that is, Scorpio has hot summer girl vibe. LOL. That's funny. With Venus and Virgo, the specifics that we're wanting, we can also be a little bit hard on ourselves. Like Venus and Virgo, it's easy to pick yourself apart. Like that's the thing. Like we all do this, where it's like you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I could see all of my specific problems with myself. Venus and Virgo is like, hey, there's no need to really look at all that stuff. But while you are, Venus trining Saturn is like, what can you do to help those specific part of yourself, or that specific thing that you want to change, that specific thing that you're wanting to beautify? What are some constructive things that you can do? What are some disciplines that you can set? Venus trining Saturn, there's this like, I value this, so I'm going to work for it in this capacity. I really want this, so this is what I'm going to commit to. I enjoy this, so this is how I'm going to discipline myself for it. There's a responsibility over how we handle our wants, and I think with Venus trining Saturn, there is, if you want to buy a car for the first time, that comes with responsibilities. Same thing with Venus and Virgo. If you want to start a new face routine or a skincare routine, like that's going to require discipline every day to put some work into it. This is, if you want it, what are you willing to do to sacrifice for it? What are you willing to work for? How much are you willing to work? I think on October 24th, there's this, not risk and reward, but reward and effort conversation happening. What needs to get done in order for the wants that you have to be fulfilled, essentially. And it's earth stuff, you know. This is more serious, is more pragmatic, more simple, not necessarily, you know, about being all crazy and stuff like that. Being a little bit more simple. Wow, we're only an hour into this. I'm doing really good. Where are we at? So, hold on. Fuck. There we go. Then we get into, oh shit, wrong button. The 25th. That's right. We get into the 25th, and that's where we have the Mercury Cazimi. You know, this Mercury retrograde is just so fucking much. Just so much getting uprooted, coming out of nowhere. I feel like Mercury conjoining the sun is definitely when, I don't want to say a problem gets solved, but a solution or possibly a new way of perceiving it gets fixed. So to go back to my pipe analogy, if you're digging underneath the ground, maybe at first you don't know why things are coming up, and you call the 411 number and they do their thing, and maybe the Mercury Cazimi is when you learn what pipe you hit, if it was a water pipe, a gray water pipe, or whatever the fuck it was. There's some type of information being brought in, things becoming clear. With Scorpio, it's easy to get tunnel vision with stuff. Like I say this shit to all my Scorpio people. Like the tunnel vision, the only seeing things through that scope lens, hyper fixating on stuff. It's easy to only see things that way. Mercury, Cazimi and Scorpio is like when you're able to kind of take that step back and see that objective truth of stuff. That there's a, you know, information being given. There is not necessarily your point of view where you're hyper fixated what you're looking at, but what the objective truth is. The bigger situation that's going on. There's definitely more clarity around the Mercury retrograde, which, by the way, this actually might be more of like a plan, or more of honestly like an honest conversation. Because the other thing is, Mercury is going to go back into Libra, and it'll square Saturn and stuff again too. So there's some type of peace that's resolved later on. But maybe this Mercury conjoining the sun in Scorpio is kind of like some kind of, you know, harsh words being thrown, but also like a harsh clarity being revealed. Like, oosh, like, you know, that's kind of fucking rough. Like that kind of sucks. It's kind of like getting bad news from your mechanic. What are you going to do? Next thing that's going on. Mercury and Venus go both into Libra. So this is where it gets confusing, which I'm going to make a quick pause. If you guys want to donate to my channel. I'd super appreciate you guys. And once this is done too, we'll be getting into like the chart readings and everything like that. But yeah, donate to my channel if you love me. I love you. Or I already do, but I'd appreciate it. Anyway, we get to the 27th. And Mercury and Venus both do this thing where they both go into Libra on the same time. So watch the next day. Not the next day, the 27th. Let's actually go forward a little bit. I actually don't know what goes in first. Oh, wow. They basically go in like almost simultaneously. Let's do another hour. Wow. They literally go in almost at the exact same time. Holy shit. I knew they were going. Let's see. Mercury hits 0. Okay. Mercury enters Libra at 6:34 and Venus enters Libra at 6:40 fucking 2. Literally like not even 8-10 minutes from each other. So this gets a little bit complicated. Not complicated, but this screams like peace. And I know you're probably as an American going, peace was never an option, but I think there is this Venus, connects, right? Venus builds bridges. Venus is going into her home sign. The only problem is Venus just got home to Libra after she was in Taurus, then did a whole retrograde and got hit with eclipses in Gemini, then went through Cancer, then went through Leo, then went through Virgo, and is now finally home in Libra. And then there's Mercury retrograde in Libra being like, hey, we've got a problem that I need you to handle. With Mercury going back into Libra, with Venus in Virgo and Mercury in Scorpio, there's a lot of I swear to God, from October 25th to the 27th, it's going to be two completely different vibes. There's a lot of intensity. Again, Venus and Virgo being specific, being pinpoint. Mercury and Scorpio having this super zoomed in perspective of things, having that tunnel vision. Mercury going back into Libra, although it's still retrograde, is going, okay, how can we, better adjust? How can we be a little bit more balanced and fair? Venus going into Libra is it's kind of like if you've ever grown your hair out, there's an ugly stage when you do that. You go through an ugly stage and then thank you for the donation. You go through an ugly stage and then you finally get to this point where your hair looks good. Or maybe things weren't exactly the way that you wanted them to look, and then you make a little change, and Venus in Libra is everything becomes good again, I should say. Venus in Libra makes everything easier to enjoy. Venus in Libra is going to make everything easier to talk about. Venus is the connector, and in Libra, building relationships, building connections. Venus in Libra is about bringing peace, you know what I mean? Venus in Libra, I feel is coming into the party where everyone's stressed out and freaked out, and Venus is okay, let's actually, have some calm manners about this. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. With Mercury in retrograde, with Mercury retrograde with Venus. Mercury was first retrograde with this is what I want to bring up. Mercury was squaring Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto when it was first stationing direct, right? That time Venus wasn't in Libra, but now that Mercury's back in Libra, squaring all this stuff with Venus in Libra, I feel there's more of hey, let's actually talk about this. Let's actually make things a little bit easier. But also, this is Mercury going back into Libra, in the superior position here to Saturn and Jupiter. This is kind of one of those moments where it's all right, where do we need to kind of lay down the law? Where do we need to actually have some fair practice? But I guess in a more personal sense, I think this is where, maybe taking things a little bit too hard isn't always the answer, even with yourself. And maybe trying to be a little bit more fair or balanced with your self-talk, your own dialogue, how you relate to other people. Because that's another thing too. I've been caught in this situation too, getting too worked up about certain situations. And I think with this Mercury retrograde, this might be a really good time to practice more, just openness with conversation, more diplomacy, more just calmness, just being more easygoing. Anyway, so we end this month with a super fucked up full moon. And that is that full moon. What is that? Full moon in Taurus. It's conjoining Uranus as Mercury squares Saturn. So let's get to Halloween. So Halloween this year, it's pretty spooky. This looks so fucking gnarly. Look at this shit. Let's actually go back. When is the full moon exact? Oh, damn. Right here. So literally the morning of Halloween. Ooh, morning of Halloween will be very interesting. This is where, Mercury also was when it was about to station retrograde. And there's this sense of the moon in Taurus, usually the full moon in Taurus is all right, where do we need to get comfortable? Where do we need to get grounded? This is usually by this time at Halloween, you're changing all of your aesthetics to the fall stuff. You're changing your clothes to fall wear. You are getting more comfortable with the cold. With this full moon, though, conjoining Uranus, there's this different way of doing it this time. There's this innovative way of doing it this time. But there's also, again, upheaval. There's destabilization. There's this really ripping things out from the bottom with this full moon. But this is kind of realizing, what damage was done, when you rip things out. When you rip that pipe out, what else did you break underneath the ground? And that's kind of what's going on here. Because also, too, this is when Mercury is going to be squaring Saturn. So this, conversations that need to be had aren't always easy to have. Usually they're not easy to have at all. And there's this real hardcore when we go from the October 1st to October 31st, we're in two completely different worlds. And I think at the end of October, there is a realization of what's not stable and what needs to be stabilized. And with Mercury stationing retrograde, squaring Saturn, stationing direct almost at this point, squaring Saturn, there's this okay, things need to be addressed in a very serious tone. And you can't always be polite. You can't always build a bridge. Sometimes you just have to send a homing pigeon to get the message across. This definitely looks on a very personal, on a personal level, this just looks like, dude, get out of your comfort zone, do something different, innovate yourself. Not everything has to be the same, This is the moon in Taurus. What are our creature comforts and how can we make those different? How can we be innovative about those? But with Mercury square Saturn, it's not taking any bullshit. It's definitely not not allowing room for bullshit and being like, hey, this is what needs to be said. This is what needs to happen. And this is what needs to be done. And then we go into November. And of course, November is actually not horrible. We get Mercury stationing direct. Let's look at the election. This is the election. So Mercury stations direct. Wait, what time does Mercury station direct? I haven't looked at that. I didn't do a Mercury retrograde video this month, which if some of you who haven't followed me for a long time, I usually do a video about every Mercury retrograde, and I didn't do one this month about it. Mercury stations retrograde at 9:50 a.m. We're stations direct. Once we get to November, Mercury stations direct. Mars is about to station direct. Jupiter and Saturn are flying through the rest of Capricorn. November actually looks pretty chill for the most part. Of course we have election day to get through, but for the most part, it looks pretty okay. Once Mars stations direct, that is. But with that being said, first things first, before you guys start spamming me with all of your birth times, I'm only going to read one of each 12 signs. So if you put in your birth information and you're a Cancer rising, and I've already done a Cancer rising, let me know because I'm not going to read it. Send me all of your birth chart info, but let me know what your rising sign is too, because I only want to do one for each rising sign. But yeah, go ahead and let me know. Put in the comments what your birth information is. Let me know what your rising sign is, so I'm not pulling up the same rising sign each time. So then I can go in, and when people watch this on the pre-recorded, they can know what's going on. All right, we'll start with my Sag rising right here. I like that it always comes in for some reason, on my thing. It just all happens at the same time. It's actually kind of nice. Okay. 2 on AMTV. Here, let me do this real quick. Tinium TV. I've done yours before, and you're a Fairfield, California. Oh, I need your birth time, fool. Birth time. What's that birth time? 2 a.m. TV. What's that birth time? Quick. Fairfield, California. What's that birth time? Yeah, another thing too. I need you guys' birth times. 1:50 a.m. Okay. All right. What's going on for the Sag risings? As I am also a fellow Sag rising. So, oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh, dude. Okay. So quick thing. For if you've got Pisces placements like this, you should look into, I think it's March of 2022, because there's like a Jupiter, Venus, Neptune, Sun conjunction all in that, all the end degrees of Pisces. And that's going to be super fun. But this month for you, let's kind of track it down for the Sag rising. Saturn and Mars is fucking in your fit, like, I don't know what to fucking say. And you've got Mars in the North Node. Shit. Okay. The Mercury retrograde in the 12th. The one thing I was going to say about that is, and I'm kind of expecting this too with Uranus in the second, there might be some unexpected health issue that comes up, or maybe even an unexpected injury. So just kind of like try to play it safe. But Mercury retrograding in your 12th may bring up something that you didn't expect for there to be there, and it comes out of the woodworks and you're not ready for it. Unexpected health issue might arise. Venus is going through your 10th house, trining all of the stuff in your second house in Capricorn. So good career stuff. At least, you know, what specifics you're trying to get about with your career is going to help you with your money. You still don't know what you want, though, and you're going to have to make some decisions about that, especially about where you live and what you're doing with your life, because that's the Mars-Sun opposition. I'm literally going through the same fucking thing. So, yeah, and then you get your Jupiter return next year, so you're fine. Let's see. Hold on. I got to, like, scroll through all these comments. So that's Sag rising. Leo rising. We're going to do the Leo rising next. That was the one that I have here was Mariana Luau. I don't know how to say that. Mariana Lulau. Hold on. June 16th, 1994. 10:45 a.m. Puebla. Oh shit, I did not spell that shit right. Shut up. Puebla, Mexico. Oh, hold on. I probably didn't. No, I didn't. Puebla. There we go. All right, Mariana Lulu. Leo rising. Ooh, that ascendant on Regulus. Watch out. Wow, that's so crazy. So the last chart, Tiano TV had Mars in the North Node, and you have Mars in the South Node. That's pretty interesting. So for the Leo risings, Mars is retrograding in your 9th right now. Well, you for sure ain't going anywhere far. There's no far distance travel happening. But Mars in your 9th can just be having bad problems or having frustrations with your beliefs, shaking your fist at God. There's some decisions that are being made with your education. If you're going to school right now, this is where you're going to be kind of making some decisions of what's going to be going on there. You've been having some problems with that area, though, so that's something that's just going to get focused this month. Venus is going to be in Virgo in your 2nd house. You're making more money, and it's trining all of the 6th house stuff in your, or it's trining all this Capricorn stuff in your 6th house. The Leo risings are taking on more responsibility. They're doing more of a hustle. They're making more money from it. We're having that full moon in Aries and then the full moon in Taurus. So that full moon in Taurus conjoining Uranus is really going to bring up a lot of stuff about where you live and mostly about your career and what innovations or what changes needed or what is being destabilized or what is destabilized or destabilizing in your job and in your career in regards to your living situation. Because as Mercury retrogrades in your 4th house, okay, this is so specific for the Leo risings. Mercury retrograding in Scorpio in your 4th house, there's a really good chance of like some type of pipe breaking, a bad smell emanating from your house. So watch out for bad smells. Watch out for random shit fucking breaking and causing a lot of problems like that. So be a little bit careful. Hold on. Let's go to All right. The next comment I have the time we're gonna do. Man, all your guys' Twitch names I don't know how to pronounce. So we're gonna do Elliot Lovea, Elliot Leiva. I'm totally just guessing names here. So again, don't judge me. May 14th 1993, 9:03 p.m. San Pedro. Pedro Sula, Honduras. Sick. Okay. And this is Capricorn Rising. Okay, Capricorn Risings. Wow, your chart's fucking intense. Damn. That Mercury Cazimi opposite Pluto. Woo. Sorry, I'm just like, I gotta hella look at your chart first. So for you specifically, yeah, I mean, Saturn, all that stuff is pretty much done. Your Venus, wow, you got a pretty cool looking chart. Mars trining Venus there. Okay. Where do we start off with? Jupiter and Saturn are your first. You're just, you're taking on more, like all the Capricorn risings, it's just, you're taking on more responsibility. You're being more serious with yourself, being more self-sufficient. Just because you're a Capricorn rising doesn't mean you have to take on all the projects in the world. Like, you can say no to work. It is possible. And especially this month with Mars in your fourth, like there's conflict, there's issues, or there's some type of, like I have a friend of mine who has Mars in their fourth, and like their kitchen, like a whole wall just bursted in their kitchen, and like they had to totally rechange the wall, which Mars rules kitchen. So it's like Mars retrograding in your fourth house. There could be some problems with your kitchen that are going on for the Capricorn risings. There's some type of problem or restructuring of your house that's going on that can be getting in the way of your personal life. But also Mercury's retrograding in Scorpio, and it's going to be opposite. It's going to be in your 11th house. So, you know, certain friends might have the miscommunication with your friends, miscommunication with coworkers or colleagues. Venus is in your 9th, though, trining your first. So there's a lot of connection to your spirituality, your religion, any type of cultures or your higher education, what you're learning. And that's helping you just feel more stabilized about yourself. All right, we're going to do at the Fantastic, since you are a Gemini rising. November 21st, 1988. Time 5:54 p.m. Toronto, the 6. Okay. Wow. Okay. Sorry, hold on. I've got to take this one in too. This one, where do we begin? Let's start off with these. So you're having your Venus return. That'll be next month, though. So that'll be good for love and romance and stuff. But Venus is going through your south node in Virgo in your 4th, trining your 8th. Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto are in your 8th. So maybe you're catching up on some debt or paying back loans or receiving money from other people. That's really supporting your family and your home life situation. Things in that 8th house area start becoming a little bit more manageable, but you're taking on more responsibilities and dealing just with more energy, period, when it comes to shared resources, possessions, money, debt, things like that. There's a Mercury retrograde happening in your 6th, and it's going over your Venus too, which is your 5th house ruler and your motherfucking 12th house ruler. So this could be some unexpected health issues too, like maybe getting sick. That might put you out of the game for a minute. Doesn't look horrible though, but something, or this could even be a problem with a coworker, a hidden enemy coming from your coworker, possibly like something not. Yeah, maybe your coworker just talked shit about you or something, and then you ended up resolving it and ended up becoming friends, or some type of colleague. But I mean, Mars is retrograde in your 11th house right now, so you're doing a big reworking of your friendships, and that's all for the Gemini risings too. And you have the North Node on your ascendant too. There's this big hunger for like what you're wanting to do, what you're wanting to achieve. Like this is who you are. This is what you want. Not a big time to focus on relationships though, really. All right. Earth Daddy 22. What's poppin'? Hold on. Earth Daddy 22. I love that name. Virgo Rising. I almost put date. Virgo Rising. April 29th. 1986. Reading England. Oh, hold on. I need to put in the time. 1:47 p.m. Reading England. Hold on. Did I not spell England right? What the fuck? Do I just put the UK? Okay. We're putting the UK. You're 0 Virgo Rising. Is this the right time? Earth Daddy 22. Is this the right chart? Wow. Mars on top of your Mercury. Mars is literally on top of your ascendant ruler. It's going to station direct on your ascendant rulers. Saturn, Jupiter, man, you're getting fucking beat the fuck. Damn, and that full moon's going to be on your sun. Oh, whoo, Earth Daddy 22. You are going to be liberated. Wow. So first things first, this Mercury opposite your sun on top of Uranus thing, like, oh yeah, you're about to be like, yo, you're about to have some type of self-discovery or some type of, and this is for all the Virgo rising since this is in your 9th house, but there's a lot of like belief stuff that's coming up, self-realizations. You have the sun in the 9th house, so this is like a lot of self-realization, a lot of like, holy shit, you know, I did not see things this way. Mercury in your 3rd house could be maybe a neighbor explains it, maybe a teacher explains it, maybe a sibling hits you with it, but there's some type of communication that really just like shocks you. Like it's really shocking. And there's also Mars like on top of your Mercury, which is your ascendant ruler right now. That's also kind of like shaking things up. You've got Mars squaring your Mars and your Mercury. Like there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of, I mean, you're a Virgo rising. You're wanting to be calculative and cold about it. And you know, you're going to be frustrated to kind of go one by one. Venus in your ascendant and Venus in your 1st house is going to be good for like looks, feeling attractive, feeling good about yourself, and it's trining your 5th house. So you poor Virgo risings are totally, you're like, I don't know what I want. Can I even receive what I want? Like, is it even possible? I did all the math for it, all for naught. But Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto on top of your Mars and Moon, there's some stuff that's moving forward here. Maybe you could, if you're single, you could attract, well, you've got Jupiter in your 12th, or I mean your 7th. I don't know if you're single, probably not with that, but I would assume that there's definitely a better attraction in relationships, more fun relationships. The Mars thing is going to suck, and you are going through a transition where like, oh, I'm a little bit scared. Oh, I'm a little bit of this. Oh, I'm a little bit of that. But once Mars basically stations direct, you're going to be like, okay, now I think I see how I need to see things clearly. But yeah, that full moon on your sun, that's you're going to be like, I feel something. And it's probably going to start when Mercury actually goes opposite your sun. So just get ready for that. All right, next. Shamanka Suna? Shamanka Suna. I'm gonna totally guess that I'm if one of you says another silly ass name. Have you guys seen that? I know you guys have seen that Key and Peele bit. If one of you says another silly ass name, October 28th, 1971. A Gen Xer. Where the fuck? Oh, hey. Oh wait, no, you put your time. I think I saw you comment it. Hold on. 5:27 p.m. 5:27 p.m. Cheltenham. Cheltenham. All right, what's your? And you are a Aries rising. Oh, ooh. Okay. So Aries risings. Yeah. Mars is on your ascendant, and Saturn's in your 10th house squaring it. I mean, life's tough. That's for sure. Mars in your 1st house is just like, there's a new energy to you in what you're doing. You could be feeling a little bit tired, but you can also just be feeling like you have to do a lot of work. Right now, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto in your 10th house, a lot of career stuff is moving forward. Even though your ascendant ruler is retrograde, you're wanting to like not kind of move forward, and you're kind of wanting to change things up. But you might be under so much pressure that, you know, you kind of just have to do things even though you really don't want to do them. Venus is going to be going through your 6th house, where you will be at least oh, my camera's frozen. What? Oh yeah, my camera's frozen. Look at that. I guess I can just switch to this. Didn't it do this last time? Huh. That's weird. Can I just do this? Good thing my house is clean, and that you guys can see back here. So that's kind of weird. I have this like battery that like runs forever in this thing. I'm surprised this is going. Anyway, to go back to this, let's actually we're gonna turn this off, and maybe this will fix it. It's just still frozen. I don't know how to get myself off of it. I actually don't know how to fucking change it. Can't I just do this? No. There we go. We'll do it like that. Okay. Oh, like that? No. Okay. I'm fucking up so bad. I haven't had to do something like this in a minute. Anyway, I'll just go back to this. So anyway, wait, how the fuck? Can I just do this? Watch. Hold on, I'm just trying to see if I could fucking put this shit in there. I don't know how to do it. Okay, anyway, Aries risings. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on yourself to do a lot of work. There's the Mercury retrograde in your 8th. There might be like some mismanagement of finances or money. Since there's going to be that full moon in Taurus in your 2nd house. The Mercury retrograde is happening in your 8th house of shared resources and money. It's going to be opposite Uranus with the full moon. And for you specifically, if we pull this back up, check this out. Like, it's literally going to be on top of your sun, here next to your 2nd house. So I would say be careful with your finances. Be careful with your money. Try not to make any kind of wild or crazy investments anytime soon. Otherwise, you know, you might pay the price for that later on. Also, I would ask Shamankansuna, if I'm even saying that right, what was going on during Mercury retrograde in Cancer, or not the Mercury retrograde in Cancer, the Mercury retrograde on Halloween last year when Mercury was retrograde on top of Venus. That would have been last year, so that would have been something similar that came up. But yeah, Venus in your 6th house, that's going to be good for your coworkers and working together with people, and that's going to be helping you with your career and what your duties and responsibilities are, even though Mars retrograde in your 1st, you're not really feeling all that well. But Venus is going through your 7th house, so that'll be good for relationships as well. I think that was everything. All right, Charlotte Persephone, you're next. Charlotte, also, hold on. March 29th, 1996. Hey, 1996, baby. Same here. What's up? 11:02 Montgomery, Alabama. AM? Yeah. Montgomery, Alabama. All right, what's going on with you? Let's see this. Cancer rising. Okay. Oh my God. You're the 3rd person I know born on this fucking day. I literally know 3 people. I know 2 other people. Oh, wait, Charlotte. Hey, wait, this is your chart. Okay. I was like, wait a second. I know who the fuck this is. What's up, Charlotte? I was like, what the fuck? How do you have the exact same chart? Okay. Shit. Let's talk about where's that full moon happening? So that full moon in Aries is happening right on your sun. So this looks like, your second house ruler. It kind of looks like actually a lot being revealed around your money and your finances, but you have the moon trining your sun. So this kind of looks like a decision is being made with your money and finances, and also regarding career stuff, since Mars is retrograding right here. Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto, that Jupiter return, we talked about this. Relationships are moving forward. There's more responsibility that's being taken up in here, and that might get in the way and cause conflict with career stuff, but it really just depends on how the relationship kind of goes. But there is that full moon here in your 10th house where the Cancer's risings, there's a realization with career stuff, but for this chart specifically, the sun rules your second house and it's in your 10th. So it's really just highlighting money and career topics. But then we get to the Mercury retrograde in your 5th house, opposite the 11th house stuff. And this might be where, there might be some type of miscommunication around love, romance, sex, art, music, creativity. There's a Mercury opposite Uranus. So there's some type of upheaval of 5th house and the 11th house stuff of friendships and 5th house stuff of love and creativity. So this could either be finding more friends or community to collaborate with, or misinterpreting something. This Mercury retrograde, the Mercury retrograde is going to not necessarily be all that fun, but it's definitely going to reveal something. Everything else looks pretty okay, though. Before this other Cancer risings out there, some type of 5th house activity gets misconstrued and gets miscommunicated and ends up causing some type of difficulty or some unexpected intentions with your friends. So just look out for that. Who else is next? All right, we did a Sag rising. Libra rising, Aries. That's who we're doing next. So Aries. Man, I'm fucking hungry. I'm so fucking excited to eat after this shit. Y'all have no motherfucking idea. 05 23 96. 2:19 p.m. Auckland, New Zealand. If I ever moved out of the country, it would probably be New Zealand. Libra rising. Ooh, that 0 degree Libra rising. Whoa. Hey. Whoa. Yo, this chart's everywhere. Okay, Libra risings. So big thing with the Libra risings. I was just talking to my sister about this because she's a Libra rising. I was like, Mars is retrograding your 7th. Maybe don't eat. Or not don't eat. I was reading that stupid comment on the side. Don't date. Don't date with Mars retrograding your 7th. You can if you want. That's fine. But you're going to run into issues. You're going to have conflicts. You're going to get ghosted. There's going to be problems. Man, your chart's sick. That moon Saturn trine. You have Venus literally right at her stationing degree. You were born like what? Almost the day Venus stationed. Sun Pluto opposition. That's intense. And the moon opposite Uranus too. Jeez. Unhinged. But anyway, Mars going through your 7th house, conflicts in relationships. It's just going to happen. And you have the ruler of your 7th and your 8th too. So there's definitely some stubbornness there. The full moons. We're having the full moon in Aries while the sun is over here. And this is also your Chiron opposition. Oh man, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a big realization of like, what are you doing in relationships? Like, what are they doing? What do you want? What is it helping you towards? This could also be a coworker or a relationship in the workspace too that you kind of make some decisions about. With the full moon's literally like on your Saturn too. So there's definitely some type of, limitations. There's some type of responsibility that has to be taken on with the relationships. But then we get this full moon in Taurus and this Mercury retrograde going on. Unexpected times that you're gonna fucking pay money and you don't want to. It's gonna be unexpected expense comes up. And this might be unexpected, like shared resources or something that breaks. Maybe someone, So that full moon in Taurus, the moon, which is the midheaven ruler, which rules your career and bosses, is going to be full in your 8th house. So this might be like someone, a boss or someone in your workplace borrows borrows something of yours, or maybe they give you something. Just watch out for that. But yeah, the full moon in Taurus, probably going to have to pay something that you don't want to. Mercury retrograde in your 2nd house, some type of money issue coming up, or restructuring your finances, because it's also going to be like squaring your moon, and it's also going to be like opposite your moon and Mercury, or your Mars and Mercury. Venus is in your 12th house. So Venus, your ruling planet, transiting your 12th, is going to basically be like really nitpicky about yourself, but it's definitely like you'll be enjoying more alone time, taking care of yourself a little bit more, being more alone, more isolated, but just more enjoying your own self by your own time. And even though you might be a little bit picky or whatever, it's enjoyable for the most part. And it's also going to be trining all that Saturn stuff. So this is going to be where you feel more comfortable in your home. And that's a lot to say. You Libra Risings, one thing I'll say about Libra Risings, they have been going through shit in the home and family life. And with Venus in the 12th, trining all of the stuff in the 4th, there's definitely like, actually enjoying where you're at and enjoying your living situation just for a minute. And then Venus goes into your ascendant, and you become a bad bitch, basically. And there's that Venus-Mars opposition. That's very bad bitch, hot girl summer energy. So that's really fun. Okay, moving on. Hold on, let's see. What other ones? Blue-eyed Gemini. Blue-eyed Gemini. That sounds familiar. Why do I know that? Blue-eyed Gemini. I like a do the cha-cha. Blue-eyed Gemini. I don't have a time for you. Hold on. Let me scroll through all of these. Blue-eyed Gemini. Oh, there we go. I got you. 12:45 a.m. In Manchester, New Hampshire. Who the fuck lives in New Hampshire? Ascent. Okay. 1970 to get that right. Okay. So first things first, Mars is in your 2nd house retrograding. You're either burning through money, or you're definitely rearranging. I would say you're probably burning through money, because you also have the 2nd house ruler in detriment. Or like, this might be spending more money on your kids, spending more money on recreational stuff than you kind of have right now. Yeah, this can definitely just be like having issues with money or finances, ownership and possessions over 5th house stuff of love, romance, children, recreational activities, hobbies. So you could be putting a lot of money there. Venus is going to be going through your 7th house, so that'll be good for relationships. But you also have the South Node there, so there's definitely some type of like connection that feels like kind of fatalistic, but also kind of uncomfortable, and there might be a draining relationship that's kind of being experienced. But we have that full moon in your 2nd house. So there's this definitely a realization that's kind of going on with money and shared resources. And it's also on top of Uranus and your Chiron. So there's maybe some sensitive issue around money and finances where you might have to take out some money, borrow some money, or maybe you're able to kind of figure out how you're going to pay off some certain debts or something like that. That's how I would interpret it. But then that next full moon, the one that's in Taurus, with Saturn and Mercury in Taurus, it's not going to be too much of a big deal for you specifically. But while everything's in Scorpio, the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio opposite your 3rd might be a time where you just realize something different. Like Mercury retrograde in your 9th, that's re-examining your beliefs, re-examining what you see in this world. This could also be a time where you get into like some type of spirituality or some type of work that's hidden, that's more occult. And as it's opposite Uranus in your 3rd, this could revolutionize and change an understanding about yourself or your worldview that you weren't expecting at first, maybe. But yeah, Saturn, Jupiter, Capricorn, Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, all moving forward in your 11th house. Friendships are starting to actually become more stable and become a little bit better and not so heavy. But it's really hard when all of that shit's opposite your Venus and opposite your Mars, as Mars is also squaring your Venus. Your Venus is getting pulverized. Like maybe you're having to borrow more money than you feel comfortable doing, or maybe you're getting a lot of conflicts with your siblings or other family members or even your neighbors. Let's see, who do I have next on here? Thank you guys for sending me all of your chart information too. This is really fun doing this. I like going in all this stuff, and I'm glad that you guys like it too. So the next person we have, we did Aries rising. Oh, Dab9988. You're a Taurus rising, so we'll do you because we haven't done Taurus rising. So wait, we've done Aries rising. We're about to do Taurus rising. Did we do Gemini rising? We did do Gemini rising. We've done Cancer rising. We've done Leo rising. We've done Virgo rising. We've done Libra rising. We haven't done Scorpio rising. We've done Sag rising. We've done Capricorn. So, and I did Pisces. So I only need Aquarius and Scorpio after this one. But I'm sure there's stuff in there, so don't worry about commenting the stuff. Dab9988, Taurus rising, 11/12, 1984. Shit, where is it at? 1984 at 4:08 p.m. in Westminster, California. Okay. Ooh. Whoa. 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 I know someone born around this time. Who is it? I know someone around that born with this. I like this Moon Jupiter opposition. It's cool. Mars at like, oh man, I've seen this chart before. I feel like I've seen this chart before. Where do I know this chart from? Anyway, first things first, Taurus rising. So hold the fucking phone. Skirt? 8 degrees ascendant? Okay. And 8 degrees descendant? Okay. Okay. So Mercury rules your second house, the moon rules your third house, and your IC. So this definitely looks like some type of unexpected relationship miscommunication, or a relationship actually comes into play here. Maybe a hidden enemy becomes revealed. That's how, I would almost look at it like that. I would say a hidden enemy becomes revealed. Wait, what's your perfection? And you're in a Jupiter ruled year, but you turn into a Mars ruled year here. Oh no, you are in a Mars ruled year. Mars is your time lord. You're in a 12th house year. So yeah, I would say a hidden enemy comes up. But I'm sure you probably already know that one. A hidden enemy comes up. Uranus is on your ascendant, like some type of breakthrough moment, some type of liberation, ecstaticness. There's a lot of upheaval of your identity and how your worldview is and how you see things because of what someone else says to you. That's the way I would look at it. Mars is also like squaring your Mars and your midheaven and your Jupiter, and Saturn and Jupiter are both over here. Like you're just doing a hella intense work right now. And also Mars is in your 12th. You're just angry. Like something about it's funny, just with the Taurus risings and just Mars in the 12th house, like so much like anger is just being like repressed, it's putting on the back burner, like, oh, I'm mad about this or I'm mad about that and I don't know why. It's just a lot of anger in the back of your head, basically. But where's Venus going to be at? Venus will be in your 5th house, so that'll be good for, like, this looks both good and bad for relationships. Like love and sex stuff, like Venus will be going through your 5th house, so it'll be trining your Jupiter and your Mars, so that's good for like romantic stuff and like sex too. But the actual relationship dynamic might be a little bit hostile and intense. Venus will go through your 6th house and there'll be that Mercury retrograde. I would almost say that there might be a hidden enemy revealed through a coworker, or through some type of relationship in the workspace. So just be careful about that one. That full moon in Aries in the 12th house. Also, Mars in your 12th house. You might just be sick right now or dealing with illness more than usual, feeling more tired and fatigued. But that full moon in Aries here on October 31st, you might kind of realize what your problem is. And that's not going to be fun. You are not having a fun time right now. I'll just put it to you that way. Hold on. Let me fucking... Who the fuck is next? So wait, this is our Taurus rising, right? Let me scroll up here. Who is there's a lot of comments. Pain. Hold on. Where is my spot at? Damn, there's a lot of you commenting here. Thanks for joining me, by the way. Again. Scorpio rising. I'm Jabs17. That's who we're doing. I'm Jabs17. You were born on February 17th, 1997 in Jackson, Mississippi. Mississippi. Oh fuck. Whoops. Let's put Jackson. At 12 a.m. At 12 a.m. Whoops. Fuck. Yeah. Hey, I know who you are. I've just read your chart for you. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, so Scorpio risings. Oh gosh, I forgot how fucking wild your chart is. Hold on, I need a drink of water. Okay, we're still at an hour and 51 minutes. We're doing pretty good for time. Scorpio rising. Let's see what's going on first. Yeah, Mars retrograding in your 6th. Health issues, changing up your routine, being really busy a lot, having conflicts maybe with coworkers, just a lot of tension right there. And I mean, Mars is also opposite your Mars, which we talked a lot of fucking about in your reading. But yeah, lots of work going on in your 6th house that might be a lot to take on. Venus going through Virgo in your 11th though. And Venus is your Time Lord right now too, huh? So you Scorpio risings, you're going to have a lot more connections to your friendships, to your allies, your community, giving back, and it's going to be trining your 3rd house. So you'll be pretty busy both with your work and just with your roles and your duties with your friendships and your community and team members and stuff like that. And then as Venus goes into Libra, that's when you'll be more private and by yourself, doing your own thing. For you specifically, Venus is conjoining that Mars going opposite Saturn. The second Venus enters Libra, it's business time. It is definitely not. It'll be relaxing, but in order to relax, sometimes you have to turn off your work phone. But that full moon in Aries happening in your 6th house, that sounds like more of like realizing what needs to change or what you actually have energy for when it comes to your routine and your habits and your day-to-day routine. But then that full moon in Taurus with Mercury retrograding in your 1st house, maybe Mercury retrograding in your 1st house can definitely be like maybe you actually say something, you miscommunicate something or you misconstrue something, and that can definitely be problematic with a relationship in your life. So Mercury retrograding in Scorpio in your 1st, try not to say something stupid, but you might just say something stupid anyway. And then it might create some upheaval in a relationship or instability in a relationship. Or vice versa. Someone says something whack and crazy as shit to you that makes you go, hey, the fuck was that all about? And I mean, also, Mercury and the moon is about to square your Jupiter, your Mercury, your Uranus. So there's a lot of, tension and conflict kind of being thrown around the room everywhere there. But now to Aquarius rising. Hold on, I scrolled super far down. Aquarius rising, Cancer rising, Cap rising, Leo rising. Okay, Yoginosophy. Am I saying that right? Yoginosophy, come on down. Hold on, and I just saw that you changed it too. 1990. So you were born in 1990. Hold on, I'll change that in a minute. You were born in 1830. Belgrade, Serbia. That's hard. Oh, this goes to Yugoslavia? Damn, okay. That's not, like, good. Hold on. September 5th, 1990. I can't believe this says Yugoslavia. That's crazy. Anyway. Aquarius rising. Wow, you kind of got a lot going on. Look at that. Look at her. She's sitting pretty. Wow, literally right on the descendant. With Jupiter, get out of here. Get out of here. Let's see. First things first. Mars retrograding in your third. This could be car problems. Literally like short distance travel problems. Car issues, sibling issues, conflicts with family members like cousins, aunts, and uncles and whatnot, brothers and sisters. You're also going through your Saturn return, so it's like Mars squaring Saturn. So there's a lot of maybe even hidden enemies coming from your family members or your extended family area, or even your neighbors and your local environment. The full moon in Aries will definitely highlight a lot more of what you're going to do or what is next to be done when it comes to this Mars retrograde, which the Mars retrograde in your third house for the Aquarius risings, you're just at this point right now where you're like, what do I even do? Like, what am I even doing? But the sun in Libra going opposite Mars, this will be a time where you go like, okay, like I feel like I may not know exactly what the long-term vision is, but I know what I should be doing right now. It just might be hard because there's some unexpected problems and kind of doing a lot of lonesome work that can be kind of just heavy. And then that full moon in Taurus happening in your fourth house, that's highlighting family stuff, home stuff, Mercury retrograding in your 10th house. There's definitely some type of miscommunication in your career or with your boss that creates some upheaval, or just some miscommunication in general that causes some upheaval in the family and the home life for you. And I mean, Mercury will be squaring your Jupiter and your nodes, so this definitely looks like some type of prominent miscommunication, more likely in the workplace if anything, but it can just be a public miscommunication, a public something coming out of the woodworks. It's kind of like, have you ever been like triggered by something emotionally, like in public, and you start crying and you're like, I wasn't ready for that? That's kind of like Mercury retrograding in Scorpio on your 10th, like something happening outside in the public that you weren't really expecting. But it's going to highlight instabilities and uncertainties in the fourth house, and that's going to require some type of innovation and some type of new way of doing things in the home life and the family life. Venus is going to go in Virgo, so that'll be good for that will be good, but in very weird ways. Venus going through your 8th will feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel funky. But Venus going on top of your sun and Venus going on top of your Mercury. Sorry, I yawned right there. That's highlighting relationships a lot in your life and what they have. So this is honestly a bigger focus on relationships in your life. But then once Venus goes into Libra, this is where you'll probably be feeling better about your religion, about your spiritual practice, about any higher education you're taking on or any teaching that you're doing, and you'll probably find yourself more in a comfortable space with that. But yeah, with that being said, think I got through all of the signs, and I wonder why my camera stopped working. I don't know why it did that. Let me read these comments here. I would welcome some upheaval right now. Be careful what you wish for, Taylor Smith. We already did Pisces. Did I not do Pisces? I'm pretty sure I did Pisces. But yeah, nothing else I wanted to go over with the questions. But thank you guys for adding all of your names and whatnot. Thank you guys for being here, donating, being a part of this. I will let you guys know when I do this next month. I'll probably be a little bit earlier too. I kind of got thrown off this month. I got stuck at my mom's house for like a week with my car broken down. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys for being here and participating and throwing your charts in. This was super fun. And I'm excited to do this again next month. So with that being said, thank you guys, and I'll be seeing you next time.